obviously a pretty good result for your defense last week. What did you see on film that maybe you can clean up?
Yeah, good result for the team. There's a lot of good things. I thought, very generally, I thought we started the game and ended the game really, really well. I mean, three and outs to start the game, including after an interception. And then the last two drives of the game, after the blocked field goal and penalty, they had pretty good field position. And I think it was just 16-9 at that point. And to come up with a big stop, Mo Smitherman made a good play. And then when we got up 23-9, Tez sort of took the game over. And, we're usually a little bit more aggressive, but I felt like up 2 scores with a handful of minutes left, it was an opportunity for us to get some good practice playing zone defense, and we kept the ball in front inside, and it was really, in many, many ways, a very, very, very good 2-minute drill. So that was good. We still need to continue to get more takeaways, need to make explosive play, limit the explosive plays, and, like we always say, winning minimizes the problems, losing magnifies the problems. The problems are still there. The truth of the matter is, on a wildcat play, we cut a guy loose. That could have been a big play for them. We cut a guy loose in the red zone. Cam Danzler recovered and made a good play in the end zone. And so those are things we need to do better. But we played good situational football, specifically third down, the red zone, and the clock situation. And if you do that in today's day and age, that's good stuff.
You mentioned Smitherman. How much, as well as your defense plays in system and scheme, how much just comes down to plain effort plays like you made to force that fumble?
Yeah, Mo's done everything right since I've been here. I mean, when I was at Vanderbilt, which is, 8-9 schools ago now, it seems. I mean, I just remember recruiting Mo, and he's a 9th and 10th and 11th grader out of Birmingham. And he's a good student. He's a great person. So he's one of the guys you always cheer for. And he plays with really good fundamentals and techniques. And maybe it's just his time. He's taking advantage of the opportunity with Pete out, and we've always had the next man up mentality. And like I said, on the fourth down play on the angle route, he made that play in practice all week, so it didn't surprise me. And we always talk to the guys about you'll play in the game how you practice, and we ran that exact play in that exact situation in practice, and he made that play just like he did in the game.
Speaking of next man up, Brian Cole had a really good year. He was out. Landry stepped in. What do you think of him?
Yeah, Capri did fine. I mean, we miss Brian, and we look forward to getting Brian back. But we're very confident in Capri, and you could make a case through spring ball and training camp. It was neck and neck. Who was going to win the job, and then Brian probably separated a little bit, when the game started. And I don't think Capri was super productive, but he certainly didn't hurt us. And I thought he did a good job, and he's very, he's excited, and he was really, I was glad to see him get a lot of reps and a lot of opportunities to play, because the second half of the year we're going to need him.
You talk about the development of Kobe Jones on that defensive line. I know you have a lot of talented people up there, but of course he was Johnny on the spot covering that fumble.
Yeah, that was a great play. I mean, that's speaking of other missed opportunities for Auburn, right? I mean, they had the one they missed on the Wildcat, then the long run, and the guy, football 101, you're taught not to extend the ball, unless it's fourth down or game on the line. And he tried to extend it, but you really got to give, again, McLaurin and Smitherman, kudos for their effort, and really kind of forced him to extend it, and maybe caused him to fumble it. And then, Kobe as the backside end, his effort getting to the football was really outstanding on what was really a crappy snap, because we busted a blitz, we didn't fit it up correctly, we missed tackles at the line of scrimmage, we missed tackles at the second level, and to not give up on the play, that's the difference between winning and losing. That's the difference between, a good defense and a championship defense. So Kobe's great, and Kobe's local, obviously, and when I think of Kobe, though, and you bring Kobe's example, I think about the spring game, the fact that we divided the teams up, and he wanted to be on the other team to play against the starters, and did really, really well. And he recognizes that Tez and Gary and Chauncey get a little bit more recognition than him, but per snap he might be as productive as a player as we have, and before it's all said and done here, I mean, he's going to have an excellent career. And you're not supposed to have ferrets, but he's always got a great demeanor. Coming into meetings, coming into practice, he's got a positive attitude. He's got a great work ethic. He's very, very, very competitive.
Let's talk about, you were talking last week about your communication guys. You mentioned 2 or 3 of them. Mark,
Who?
Warren, your communication guys. And Mark is one of those guys you always bring up as so key to defensive communication with the whole unit.
Yeah, Mark, Errol, and John are the guys I kind of look to for that. And Mark and Errol are doing a good job, and they'll, the second half of the year as we play even better offenses, are going to have to do a better job. John's taken it to another level, specifically the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if it was you guys or maybe with the ESPN crew. I mean, ironically, I predicted that he and Sweat would have breakout games, and in many, many ways they did. I mean, Sweat certainly had the flash plays and was dominant, and 3 sacks in the game, and it caused fumbles, big-time stuff. But Abrams' performance in that game as a safety was top flight. I mean, you know, from tackling to range to communication. On that 4th down play that Smitherman made, you know, they actually got into the formation differently than that we had prepared for, and Abram was quick enough to recognize and think about it, and quick enough to get everybody set and going, and that worked out really, really well. And so those guys have done they've done a good job, and as we move forward, they're gonna have to even do a better job. That was Mark's best game. You know, again, I think Mark still has more in him, and you know, he's gonna have a great. I feel like he's got his swag, his confidence back a little bit, and I think he's got a really good, you know, good second half of the year, and we're gonna need that.
You guys have the #1 scoring defense in the country. What do you think's been the biggest determining factor in that?
Not giving up points. Well, I mean, I'd say the 2 games that you look at were obviously you could look at Lafayette and Stephen F. Austin and say we're better than those teams. You know, Kansas State and last week against Auburn, I thought was real great examples of complementary football. Our offense ran the ball well. We played really well on special teams, and probably played to the strength of the group on defense. And you know, I think we all feel Kentucky's a game we'd like back. And even in that game, they only had 14 points to the 8-minute mark in the game. And the Florida game was just a fierce defensive battle. I'll say we take great pride. We talk about situational football, and we've talked about the defensive coordinator job and evaluating defenses. It's not so much about yards or anything along those lines. I mean, other than wins and losses, points per game is probably the most important statistic. I think we've got a group of guys out there who take great pride in not letting a team in the end zone. You know, I've said this before. I think the NCAA red zone statistics flawed, and I think we're somewhere in the middle of the pack. But I think in 14 red zone situations, we've only allowed 4 touchdowns, and that's a credit to our guys again. I mean, happened again this week several times, you know, a handful of times. They got in the red zone, and we just fought and we battled, and we did a really good job in the red zone. The week before against Florida, the example I would share with you is it's 10-6, and Florida gets down to a 1st and goal, maybe on their 6 or 7, and a touchdown puts the game out of reach. And our guys really did a good job and executed the red zone game plan, and we kept them out of the end zone, forced a field goal, and kept it a 1-score game. So I think it's situational football, and our guys being aware and communicating and taking great pride in how they practice and how they prepare for those type of things. And you know, they know the statistics. We share what's relevant and not relevant with them, and I think they're very proud of that fact. But it is what it is this week. I mean, who knows where it'll be next week? You know, so I'm quite sure that LSU doesn't really care what our scoring defense, our defensive statistic is.
Coach, is it almost a compliment that teams have to kind of resort to running some gadget plays to find some continuity on offense?
Yeah. I thought about that. It's really been, like I said, it's been about formation into the sideline. It's been about unbalanced. It's been about empty things. Wildcat last week, you know. So I mean, they force you into. Like I said, you make 2 choices as an offensive coordinator. You say we can either pick up the blitz and here's how we're going to do it, or we can line up in other formations and make it challenging for a team to pressure and blitz, and that's what they're trying to do. And make no mistake, that's not an excuse. Our guys, we got to be able to play. And on Monday this was a great opportunity for us in the open week to look at those things and measure, you know, our success or failure against those. You know, so we looked at all those things, and the only thing that we're missing probably is we don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? The disruption out of those formations. You know, they haven't gotten a lot of big plays out of FSL. They haven't got a lot of big plays out of unbalanced. They haven't got a lot of big plays out of empty. But we also haven't had a lot of tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. So it's kind of a wash. And if you actually look at the statistics, we've been okay, and it hasn't beaten us. But it's just those little annoying little screen passes into the boundary that get 4 and 5 yards, and teams really rarely drive down the field doing that stuff, but it just becomes, they stay on schedule instead of being behind schedule. And we're a much better defense, you know, when we're ahead of schedule. And this week, the thing that showed up we have to do, and we've worked on these last 2 days, are screen passes. You know, you know, again, teams have in some ways stopped even trying to throw the ball down the field on third down. You know, then they've either run the ball or thrown screen passes because they know we're going to come up. We've usually got a pretty decent pressure package or some along those lines. And I thought Auburn did an excellent job. You know, some of the screen passes the other day, the sprint out throwback to the tight end, and there was 1 3rd and 15 or something where they completed a under screen to a slot receiver. That was a play that Adegoke got hurt on. That was a good execution by them. They executed well.
How do you judge your red zone defense statistically? What do you
Yeah,
use?
well, like I said, in the NCAA they go a number of times in the red zone and scores against, and they don't distinguish between a touchdown or a field goal. Literally, I do it as simple as this, and maybe this is a silly analytic, but if the NCAA is listening, maybe I can appeal to them. Every time a team's within our red zone, I call it's a 7-point opportunity. So if they score a touchdown, they win. The offense wins 7-0. If we hold them on downs, we block a field goal, we create a turnover, we win 7-0. And if we hold them to a field goal, I think that's a good stop for the defense. So we win 4-3. You know, we get 4 of the 7 points, they get 3 of the 7 points. So after every game, that's how I'll measure, you know, success in the red zone. And this was the other day. They had 3 red zone opportunities, and they had 2 field goals, and one time they didn't score at all. So we won that. That was good.
You guys are giving up the 8th fewest passing yards in the
We got them
country.
all, man.
Has that group exceeded your expectations, the secondary?
Yes and no. I mean, we've made, again, I don't look at passing yards that much. I look more at the passing efficiency statistic, which I don't even know how you formulate that. But passing yards, if you're winning it, you know, if you're winning and a team's, like that last drive is an example. We're up 2 scores and we were playing, you know, zone coverage and saying throw it in front of us. So we gave up some passing yards in that, but I thought we played that well. But yes, I mean, the 2 things I do look at in the pass game is we haven't given up a significant number of explosive pass plays. That's positive to me. And the second thing I think we need to do a better job of is getting turnovers. You know, attacking the ball in the air. I think what do we have? We have 5 interceptions after 6 games. I prefer to be better. Now we played some man coverage. We've pressured a lot. We've gotten some sacks. So sometimes when those things happen, you don't get a lot of interceptions. But I'd like to see us the second half of the year. I think that's the thing that can take us from where we are to maybe the next level.